Welcome to Infinity Reviews. Oh no! Oh my god! No, no way! Oh, it's Saber Oh, look at these fights! Hey guys, what is up? I just got done watching The Crow, the newest movie in the Crow franchise and a reboot of the 1984 classic film, starring Bill Skarsgård and F.K. Twigs. Let me go over like the good parts of the movie first. Let me go over the good parts of the movie. The good parts of the movie, in my opinion, the action. The action is absolutely great. This definitely earns that rated R rating. It's gory, it's violent, there's eye violence, there's, gunshot wounds, there's heads chopping off, everything's chopping off in the film. And I think the fight scenes were really, really cool. There are parts where I was like, ooh, like, oh, so brutal. Some of those fight scenes were really brutal. And another thing I thought was good was there were some parts of Bill Skarsgård's performance as the Crow, as Eric, that I really, really liked. There were parts where I really believed he was this tortured soul, that he was really, wanting to save the person he loves, And, I thought there were okay parts of the performance, but there's other parts where I was like, okay, there was some cringy, in my opinion, some cringy moments from him as well. But I think it was an okay performance. Now, let's talk about kind of like the bad about this movie. This movie is not the best. That's kind of a nice way of saying it. It's not the best movie. The thing I think that, was a big no for me for the movie. Not the big no, but the thing that just didn't work was the romance. They were in the beginning of the film. I was buying the romance a bit. Between F.K. Twigs and Bill Skarsgård. I thought, okay, in the beginning they had some pretty good chemistry. Some pretty good chemistry. You have Bill Skarsgård playing Eric, and then you got F.K. Twigs playing Shelly Webster. I'm like, okay, the romance is okay. They kind of meet in this hospital/prison for people who are drug addicts, and I thought they were kind of good in the beginning. But the thing is, like, they dragged on, certain aspects of their romance a bit too much long. Especially, the big thing about The Crow is, I think, most people know this about The Crow, if they go see it, is that the big thing was, these two characters get killed together. They're suffocated to death, and it's really, really brutal and really traumatizing to the viewer. That doesn't happen, I feel like, until like 40 minutes into the film, maybe even 30. It takes a while for it to happen, and it just felt like it was prolonging the film, which, in my opinion, I think they should have cut out some of that, because I think that played for way too long. Played for way too long. And I'd say a lot of the acting isn't great in the movie. It's a lot of cringy lines. I think, in my opinion, of course Bill Skarsgård was the best part about the movie, and the action. I already said that, but there's not a lot of like standout performances in this thing. And let me just talk about F.K. Twigs for a minute. I never even heard of this F.K. Twigs person. I assumed she was like a musician, that she's maybe a singer, and this was kind of like our first movie, because I had never seen her in anything else. I'm like, okay, maybe she's good, she was not really good, I found, the character a bit, a bit annoying, a bit like, just didn't really enjoy the character of Shelly Webster. And the one thing, I think the thing about the original Crow is you could tell that those two characters were in love. But they showed it through their emotions, through how they talk to each other. In this way, they show you how they're in love is they just bang. They just bang 24/7. They're like, oh, yep, we're in love because we're banging all the time. I'm like, okay, you can't go. Can you go a little deeper than that? Maybe like find out like, oh, like I say things, like I can't live without you, and like you, like I felt like they didn't really talk about it, but these people are both drug addicts, and they could have maybe done something where it's like they're able not to go back to their tendencies because they have each other, and that they have this love that's kind of destined. I feel like they could have gone something like that, but they didn't. They just went like, oh, we bang all the time, so that must mean we're in love. Uh, and yeah, so that was her. That was Shelly, and I will say it now. The main premise of this movie, the main premise of The Crow, is that these two characters, Eric and Shelly, are murdered, and Shelly is moving into the underworld because her soul has been traded to keep others alive, and then you have this guy who recruits Bill Skarsgård, brings him back and says, hey, you're coming back, but there's a twist to it, you're supposed to you have to take down all these people because they've been putting innocent people into hell for centuries, and now it's your turn to step up and stop them, and we're going to give you some special powers where you can't die but you can still feel pain. And of course, I said action really, really great, dialogue not so much. And I think the other really main actor in here is Danny Hudson, who plays Vincent Rogue, who you might recognize from X-Men Origins Wolverine or even Yellowstone. I think he's a very underrated actor. I love whenever he pops up in things. Plays the main bad guy. A very, very underwhelming bad guy. And what I mean by that is, he's a very evil guy. He has the power to manipulate people's, thoughts. Turn their darkest desires, into reality for them to unleash those darkest desires. And I thought that was cool, but, they never explain how he has this power. He says, I've been alive for centuries. I'm like, okay, what are you? Who are you? They never explained that. They just said, oh, here's your bad guy. Kills the main characters. Now we gotta go stop him, so that means we gotta go kill him. Bad guy. I'm like, okay, that doesn't really tell me about the character, There was all this lore stuff I feel like they were trying to set up in the movie, where it's okay, they're setting is this also underworld. I'm like, okay, if Vincent Rogue isn't really the bad guy, who is the main bad guy? Who's the guy behind the curtain? Is it Lucifer's? Is it the devil? There was plot holes that weren't explained, and when they tried to go into the lore, they just stopped talking about the lore. That's where I kind of I got lost in the movie, and I'm like, okay, at least the action is good. The story, not so great. That's all I gotta say really about this film. I would say, wait for it to come out on a streaming service. Wait for it to come out streaming. That's going to give my thoughts to you guys right now. Wait for it to come out streaming. Not because, I don't want you to go see the movie. I'd rather you guys, movies are very expensive nowadays. I'd rather you go see a movie that's a bit better than this. A bit better than this. If that's Alien Romulus or Deadpool and Wolverine, Inside Out 2. Many great movies out there. Twisters. Because this is a movie I don't think I'd ever rewatch again. I've watched it once, don't need to watch it again. And I have to give this movie a 3 out of 10. I think it had great action. The action was really, really cool. Bill Skarsgård had some really, really cool moments that I really liked. But everything else, I think, was a miss for me. I think everything else was a miss. But guys, are you guys going to go check out The Crow this weekend? Please leave your comments down below. Make sure you like the video as well. And subscribe to the channel, and go check out all the other content on my channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.